Hey guys, Dr. Nick here again with Health Launch. I want to talk today about prediabetes and neuropathy. Perhaps you're someone that suffers from that, or maybe you know somebody who has recently been diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, or has recently been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. With that condition comes a lot of other health issues, and one of them is neuropathy. And I have a very close family friend who was recently diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, and he's suffering from neuropathy in the bottom of his feet. And the other night I got a phone call and they said, hey, can you recommend a naturopath, because I want to find some supplements that are going to help get rid of my neuropathy. To which my response was, what magic supplement do you think that you're going to take that just is going to cure numbing and tingling in the feet? And that's really what neuropathy is it's damage to the small nerve fibers, either in the distal parts of the fingers or in the toes or the bottom of the feet. And eventually, if the neuropathy continues, we start to completely lose feeling in those parts of the body. That's why people who have suffered from diabetes for years tend to lose limbs, because they no longer feel injuries. They get injuries on their feet, they get infected, and then they end up losing limbs. If you're someone who's been diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, then it's early stages where you can make a difference and change things in your own health to try and reverse the process. And so that's what I was telling this family friend was, hey, you need to actually make some changes in your life. First of all, this person is overweight. They don't eat healthy. And so I said some of the biggest changes that you need to make is, number one, we got to clean up your diet. You've got to reduce the processed foods that you're consuming, and you have to start reducing the sugar intake. And I don't just mean candy bars. Any kind of simple carbohydrates that you're eating only because they taste good, you've got to start cutting those out of the diet. Baby steps, but you got to start removing them. There is no diet on earth that recommends eating processed foods and sees good results. And most processed foods have sugar added so that it makes them taste good. Otherwise, why would something that sits on a shelf for 2 or 3 months still have any flavor? Doesn't make sense, right? So, cutting out processed foods, cutting out processed sugars, that's the first start. When someone has a high blood sugar because they're consuming these high sugar or highly processed foods for a long period of time, what happens is nerves do not like being bathed in an environment where there's high acidity or inflammation. And by consuming those foods, we have higher levels of inflammation. And so what happens is those very, very tiny small nerve fibers that are far away from the core of the body, which again, bottom of the feet or the tips of the fingers, the nerve fibers start to become damaged. And that's when we start to notice those symptoms. So that's the first thing to do, is you've got to clean up the nutrition, you've got to start reducing inflammation and cut out the sugars and all the food that is just junk, so that you can get your body back in a more balanced state with your nutrition. That's number one. Second is you've got to make sure you're consuming a high quality B complex vitamin, or at least a really good quality B12 supplement. If you're someone who says, well, I get my B12 from eating meat, if your only consumption of B12 is from meat, you're probably eating too much meat. That can be inflammatory as well. So, and if you're someone who doesn't eat meat at all and you're a vegetarian, you're not likely getting enough B12 just from the foods that you're consuming. People who don't get enough B12 will end up with a condition called pernicious anemia. And what are the symptoms of that? Tingling in the legs, tingling in the feet, and in the distal parts of the hands. So, what does that mean? You need a good B12 supplement to help fight this pre-diabetic or recently diagnosed type 2 diabetic state. My next suggestion for helping is to get moving. Now, there are 3 million US cases of prediabetes every year, and that starts from an age of 19 to 40 is like the first common age range. That is way too young to be suffering from something that can be completely removed by just changing our lifestyle. And so I would also make the suggestion that you start moving more. You don't have to become a runner or a century cyclist. Just start walking. get outside, enjoy some sunshine. If it's raining, put on a raincoat. Just get outside and start moving. And by increasing the circulation in the legs and in the arms, because when you're exercising, blood flow increases to other parts of the body aside from the core, it's going to help with the circulation. It's going to help you lose some weight and get healthier. That mixed with eating clean and taking a high quality B12 supplement, those are the first early changes that you need to make to start helping with pre-diabetic symptoms. So I hope that this helps at least get a good start to making some lifestyle changes to help if you're someone who suffers from neuropathy. Perhaps you aren't even pre-diabetic and you have neuropathy. These are still really good changes to make in your life. You've got to reduce inflammation, you've got to get enough B12, and you've got to start moving. If you have any other questions about this, make sure you leave those questions in the comments below. If you liked the video, if you feel like it was helpful, please like this video so that someone else who maybe wants to look at the content knows that it's valuable and it may help them as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to bring you high quality, natural health content every week to help you live a healthier life. I'll see you in the next video.